Today in Hong Kong, a maritime standoff leaves 100 ships stranded in the Strait of Hormuz. We're talking thousands of crew at sea, rising fuel costs, and why a temporary ceasefire isn't enough. I'm Garrett.
And I'm Leah. Welcome to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett from Hong Kong. First up, Strait of Hormuz conflict. Strands 100 Hong Kong ships, trapping 2,300 seafarers. The Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway between Oman and Iran that carries about 20% of the world's oil, has turned into a choke point. Around 100 Hong Kong-linked ships, either registered here or managed by local companies, are stuck. That's roughly 2,300 seafarers waiting it out on board. Richard Hext, who chairs the Hong Kong Shipowners Association, says sailing through remains risky because of potential attacks, even with a temporary ceasefire between the United States and Iran. A ceasefire is a pause in fighting, not full peace. The ripple effect is a global fuel crunch. When a fifth of the world's oil route gets squeezed, supply chains, meaning the path goods take from maker to market, get bent out of shape. Garrett, why doesn't a ceasefire make it safe for these ships to move? Isn't that the point of a pause?
Short answer, it lowers the temperature but doesn't lock in safety. A temporary deal can be fragile, threats can linger, and one incident can spiral. Ship owners hear potential attacks and think crew first. About 2,300 people stuck at sea. That hits different. And with the strait handling so much oil, even a cautious slowdown squeezes fuel supplies and bumps prices worldwide. The big takeaway, global trade is only as steady as its choke points. When one gets shaky, everything downstream wobbles. Switching gears back home, tragic tales and heroism emerge from Wong Fuk court fire hearings. We've heard testimony from 24 residents about Hong Kong's deadliest blaze in decades. The fire started in November 2023 and destroyed 7 of the estate's 8 buildings. 168 people lost their lives, and nearly 5,000 were displaced. Residents had warned about safety issues tied to renovations, including alleged bid rigging, which is when contractors collude to fix prices or outcomes. Those warnings weren't acted on. The public hearings began in March, wrapped their current phase in May, and will resume in mid-June. One stark detail, the fire lasted 43 hours, fueled by polyfoam boards and substandard scaffold netting. Think flimsy protective mesh that can burn or melt fast. The broader issue here is building safety compliance, meaning following rules in the real world, not just on paper.
This one really resonates with me. When residents raise red flags and nothing happens, accountability has to follow. Real talk, that's people's lives. The 43-hour duration is staggering. Polyfoam and weak netting turn a bad fire into a catastrophe. Why were the warnings unheeded? Was it cost-cutting, complacency, or a broken process?
We don't have that answer yet. That's what the hearings are built to surface. If there were system gaps, the goal is to close them fast so families can trust the buildings they live in.
Next up, controversial Hong Kong activist faces deportation from Thailand to China. Zhang Xinyan, a member of an overseas activist group sometimes called the Hong Kong Parliament, was arrested in Thailand for overstaying her visa and is reportedly set to be deported to mainland China. Deportation is when a country forces someone to leave for breaking immigration rules. The group says Zhang holds refugee status from the UNHCR, the United Nations Refugee Agency that identifies people needing protection. She had also taken part in the group's self-organized parliamentary election and was sworn in last year. This case highlights how complex international law and refugee protections can get when politics are involved.
Yeah, that's a curveball. If someone has UNHCR refugee status, that usually signals they need protection, but immigration overstay is a separate legal track. Countries ultimately make their own calls on entry and exit. The clash here is between refugee protections and a host country's immigration rules. It puts a spotlight on how, in politically charged cases, the legal lines can get really tight for the person in the middle. Next up, controversy erupts as Carlyle & Co. takes over Central Clubhouse of Hong Kong Golf and Tennis Academy. Members at the Hong Kong Golf and Tennis Academy, or HKGTA, are pushing back against a switch in operator for the town club in Central to Carlisle and Co., a private members club with a different vibe and clientele. HKGTA members say access could feel unfair, and the member profiles don't match. The price gap is striking. HKGTA memberships can cost up to 2.68 million Hong Kong dollars, while Carlisle and Co. offered memberships at under 50,000 Hong Kong dollars. The friction here is about social stratification, basically how groups are layered by status or wealth inside already exclusive spaces.
That's a thread worth pulling on. When one club that costs millions overlaps with another that costs tens of thousands, you're going to get tension about access and expectations. If your buy-in shapes your sense of belonging, even small changes feel big. And can you believe that price gap even exists? It's wild. The bigger question is how these spaces set fair ground rules so members on both sides know what they're walking into. Last up, viral video. Elderly woman attempts to force young passenger from priority seat on Hong Kong MTR train. The MTR is our city's mass transit railway. A video from May shows an older passenger aggressively trying to push a younger woman off a priority seat. There's face pushing, hair grabbing, even a shove with the foot. Another rider stepped in, but the older woman didn't back off. The younger passenger didn't retaliate or argue at all. Priority seats are intended for people with greater need, like the elderly, pregnant people, or disabled riders, but they're not a free pass to use force. These moments spark wider talks about respect and etiquette in tight public spaces.
Yeah, that checks out as a teachable moment. Basic courtesy goes a long way. Ask, don't shove, and if you're able-bodied, offer the seat. Credit to the younger rider for staying calm. That restraint probably stopped things from getting worse. We don't know the full backstory, but we do know the rule of thumb on the train is simple. Be kind, be safe, and, use words, not hands. Thanks for tuning in to Laid Back Local, the news of the day, with Leah and Garrett from Hong Kong.
Have a great day, and join us again tomorrow.